in trade. But it's focused JSPL, and they came about with their earnings just yesterday. Let's just highlight what the earnings look like for JSPL right now. And that's Jindal Steel currently in focus. It's down by about 3.5%. Let's go across then to Ravi Uppal, MD and Group CEO at JSPL. Mr. Uppal, most of your top line growth this quarter, as I look, has come in from volumes. What were your realizations, and what's the average drop year on year that you're seeing?
Well, we are talking about quarter one here, and in quarter one, the market demand did not grow. The domestic demand in the first quarter grew just by 0.4%. And this led to, a drop in prices of the steel products in the market. The prices which had, improved considerably in February and March, early this year, they actually saw a decline in their levels. In the domestic market, our total delivery was same as the last year, and in terms of total sale. But this sale was slightly lower for the reason that we took a shutdown for 6 weeks in our Angul facility. So, but now that plant is back in full force, and in the second and third quarter, it should be operating business as usual. As for a consolidated steel repair, the sales are concerned, we are up by about nearly 5%. Our Oman plant has done exceedingly well, and they utilize the capacity of the new steel melt shop to nearly 80% level. They also have an EBITDA level at 26%. So Oman plant has worked exactly the way we wanted it to do, and I'm sure that in the quarters to come also will have a good performance delivered by Oman plant. As far as the Indian market is concerned, I'm quite optimistic that in the third and the fourth quarters, which are the busy season, the steel demand is going to look up, and we are hoping that the year will end with a overall increase in demand by nearly 5 to 6%.
Right. And Mr. Uppal, how many more steel capacities are yet to come on board?
Well, that the Raigad plant has a capacity of 3.6 million. And right now in Angul, our capacity is about 2 million ton. There is a phase 1B of Angul, which was in a very advanced completion, but we have slowed down on that project. Now we are making effort to see that comes on stream. So once Angul expansion comes along through the blast furnace, so we would be adding another 2.5 million immediately and 3.5 million in about 6 months' time. So what I'm basically saying is that once the Angul expansion is done, the total Angul capacity will be about 2.2 million and 5.5 million ton. And add to that 3.6 million ton of Raigad. So this basically means that our total capacity will be about 9 million tons.
We've seen your peers get into action when it comes to controlling their costs, since steel price movement has been pretty volatile now. Cost control is the only way to EBITDA growth. But we've not seen that from you. I mean, some of your major expenses, power, fuel are rising. Are you getting impacted by the rising coking coal prices?
No. But that if you look at the EBITDA level, we have improved the EBITDA compared to the last quarter. If you take the Q4 2016, EBITDA was at a level of 19%, and this has got improved to 21%. And that too in a quarter when the demand was very tepid. But going forward, given our product mix, with a lot of focus on structures, rails, etc., and plates, high quality plates, I do see that our EBITDA level should improve, and I would tend to believe that by the time we're done with the third and fourth quarter, our EBITDA should be in the range of 25.
So are you not worried about the rising input costs, and how are you planning to put a lid on the margin compression?
Well, the coking coal prices started to rise just about a month and a half ago. So, there was not so much increase in the first quarter. But, from the early July, middle July, coking coal prices started to rise. They rose very sharply in the month of August, and they continue to rise even now. But for us, it's a mixed feeling, because we are one of the few steel companies in India which own the coking coal mines. We got mines in Australia as well as Mozambique. So with the price levels rising to the level that we have today, we have resumed our mining operation, both the locations, full stream, and I think that is going to benefit JSPL considerably.
You mentioned value-added steels as the key margin driver going forward, Mr. Uppal. How much contribution do you target to your total revenues?
You know that you may produce the same amount of steel, but on a per ton basis, if you go for value-added grades, your realization is higher, competition is less. So we are highly focused on developing plates, steel structures, or rails of a kind that will bring us, higher contribution on a per ton basis. That's something we have been striving. We do not want to be in a dog-eat-dog market. That has been part of our strategy, and we have been fairly successful. Even in this quarter, we have introduced several products which are for the automotive industry as well as for the defense industry.
Right. Have you secured a PPA for your 1000 megawatt power plant, which is on sale to JSW Energy as well, Mr. Uppal? And for how much of your power capacity have you been able to secure the PPAs?
We basically have 3 units of power: EUP1, EUP2, and EUP3. As for the EUP2 is the one where we have the coal linkage. I'm happy to inform that we have more or less tied up all 1200 megawatt. And as far as the EUP1, which is 1000 megawatt you're mentioning, there we have tied up nearly 400 megawatt, and we are hoping that in the next 6 months' time we should be able to tie up the most of the remaining capacity.
All right, Mr. Uppal, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for taking the time out and joining us and giving us that perspective. First half an hour of trade, and while the index remains soft, I think the broader markets have played a bit of a recovery, so the market breadth would have evened out, which is actually not